opened my eyes one morning and waited. I knew this morning would be like every other had been for the past 2 months. My husband had passed away suddenly, and I just waited for grief to greet me. I waited for my mind to start the fight to stay in the bed. I was scared that I would lay there and never get up. But once again, I got out of bed. It was Monday. I checked my phone and smiled. I saw several messages from my group of girlfriends, and they sent congratulations, and they were proud of me, messages that they were proud of me, memes of hoops of fire, someone taming a lion, and ladies in sparkling leotards swinging through the air. The week before, I decided I needed to do something to find joy again, something that would make me feel good. And I was already working with a personal trainer and had signed up for a swim class when I saw a local news segment interviewing the owner of the Detroit Fly House Circus. It's a company that hosted classes teaching circus acts. What I was most fascinated with was the aerial silks, the fabric that hangs from the ceilings, and ladies wrap themselves in the fabric doing all kind of striking poses high in the air. And once you took the class, you could create a routine and be a part of their annual showcase. So I decided to join the circus. That Monday would be my first day of circus training. So I put on my my leggings and my t-shirt and went down to the Detroit Fly House Circus. Now, once I entered, I was a little surprised because it wasn't what I expected. It wasn't as big as I expected, and it wasn't a circus tent. It was a warehouse, but I was still excited. There were 8 of us in the class, and we started with warm-ups, and they divided us into 2 groups. So my group started with aerial silks first, and you could see the fabric hanging in the ceiling tied up by a rope. And dramatically, the instructor pulls the rope, and the bottom of this purple fabric just beautifully spills onto the floor. And they begin by instructing us on how to hold on to and mount this fabric. Now, I'm last in the line of 4 people. So one by one, as instructed, each student walks up to the fabric, wrap their feet in the fabric, and climb up several feet in the air. Now, I'm watching the people in front of me just mesmerized by how amazing they look. Some of them already knew several poses, and so they held onto the fabric and twisted their bodies into these poses and came down so gracefully. Then it was my turn. So I walked up to the fabric, I held on and prepared to mount as instructed, and in that moment, several realities crashed into me at one time. First of all, I'm heavy. I am not limber. I'm 40 years old, which is way older than anybody in this class, instructor included. And this is way harder than anybody made it look. After several attempts, I managed to pull myself up. But my foot is wrapped in this fabric, and it's tight, and it hurts. And I'm sweating, and everybody's waiting on me. So I untangled myself after being only 2 feet off of the floor and fumbled my way down. Fortunately, everyone was so kind and gracious, and they were really encouraging. And so we moved on to learn several other performances. But that day, the same thing kept happening as we learned more acts. I was still so humiliated by how much I was sweating, by how out of shape I was. About an hour into the class, we took a break. At this point, I was just so torn down. I couldn't look anybody in the eye. I didn't want to cry, so I didn't keep my eyes on anybody. I put my head down and walked out of the building. Now, the plan was to get to my car, get in, pull off, don't look back. I stepped outside, and immediately I felt the Lord speak to me. And he stopped me in my tracks and reminded me that this is my story, and I get to choose how to walk it out. Nobody in there knew that I was literally fighting for my life every single day. I was fighting for the will to live. But I could still find joy, even in hard things. And I was there to have a good time, and I wasn't going to let anybody take that away from me. So I wiped my face, turned around, and went back in the building for the second half of class. Now, here we go. We're going to learn how to use the hoop. Now, to be fair, Let me just tell you, when they said hoop, I thought they meant hula hoop. Because I know how to use a hula hoop. So I thought we were going to learn tricks on a hula hoop. But no, this was a metal hoop hanging from the ceiling about 5 feet off of the ground. So once again, the instructor shows us how to mount. And one by one, each student goes up and mounts and climbs up on the hoop. And one would think in this moment that the Lord will be merciful and let me have my rocky moment. That he would extend some kind of athleticism from my youth and just give me a minute to be great. He did not. So after a struggle and them lowering the hoop down by 1 foot, I managed to climb up on that hoop. And it was still hard and there was still a lot of sweating. But after I got all 230 pounds up on that metal hoop, I leaned back and did one pose. And the whole class just cheered. And the instructor was beaming. And he leans into me and he asked me, "You want me to take your picture?" No, sir. I know how I look. And I know I don't look like anything that I imagined in my head. To this day, life is not what I imagined it to be. And that's okay. It's hard and life is messy. But I know how to do hard things. And I'm still here to have a good time. While I did complete the 6-week class, I did not return to the circus. And instead of leaning back and closing my eyes and hoping for a sparkly leotard, I just went out and bought one.